They can hear us, right? Oh, we're muted. Sorry. I don't know. No, we're not. Muted. Andy.
Good morning, Andy.
Oh, okay. We're good to go. We're good to go. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. This is a meeting of the Women's Commission. Would you please rise to the podium?
I, States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Item number 3 is public comment. We do have one speaker sign up for public comment. We'll be calling her in shortly, but her name is Ms. Elizabeth Crawford.
Okay.
Just as a reminder, there is a 5-minute time limit for public comment and we will be keeping time.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. We are in public comment and we are ready to begin the timer whenever you're ready to start.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share briefly. I know that the stated purpose of the Women's Commission is to defend women's rights. And I definitely am in favor of speaking up for women in cases of abuse and in cases of unjust discrimination. I'd like to speak, though, about the area of women's health. I'd like to ask, as a woman, I'd like to ask how my rights have been defended in the past when my very life could have been destroyed by the industry of what is referred to as reproductive rights. I was born in 1973, the year Roe versus Wade. I was an unplanned pregnancy. I was a high-risk pregnancy. My mom was 42. I was born to parents that were struggling financially. Abortion was already common in New Jersey. The doctors suspected I may have severe disabilities. By God's mercy, my parents did the right thing, and they chose life. We're told in God's word, Psalm 139, David wrote, I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. He's speaking of God forming the baby in the womb of the mother. It's been a great joy to watch the videos of the recent release of the young man, Idan Alexander, the Israeli youth who was held hostage by Hamas since the October 7th attack. We've been praying for his release, and thank God he's been released. And the videos were just so enjoyable to watch of him being reunited with his family. Idan is from Tenafly, New Jersey. The next town over is Englewood, New Jersey. Englewood is home to an incalculable number of abortions every day. Every day, women get rides from the inner city of Jersey City to the Englewood Abortion Center. The babies held captive in the womb are brutally dismembered every single day, Tuesday through Saturday. Jeremiah the prophet wrote in the words of Holy Scripture, then the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you. Abortion is gender discrimination, as more than 50% of abortions are on women. There are cultures specifically that abort because it's a female. Abortion is also coercion. I've spoken to so many women who felt coerced into abortion by boyfriends who wanted them to have it and later regretted it. Abortion is not health. We're told in God's word, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. Hope you have a very good day.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
4 on the regular agenda. 4A, approve the minutes from the April 16, 2025 meeting.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Cochran with County Administration. Let me just pull up those minutes just in case. Can everybody see that okay? If there are no questions or corrections, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Commissioner Vizcarra,
Aye.
Commissioner Bird is absent. Commissioner Hart? Aye. Commissioner Chavita? Aye. Commissioner Chu?
Aye.
Commissioner Hargrove? Aye. Chairwoman Rotate?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, discuss the planning of a potential summit to include topics, stakeholders, and county resources.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Cochran, County Administration. At your request, this is the item on today's agenda so that we can continue working on it. I did have a few updates. Unfortunately, September 25th, the courtroom itself, not the lobby, is booked for jury selection already. We can go and ask the court if they would move it. The court has it reserved. However, the Wednesday before the 24th, it's available. The following Wednesday and Thursday, October 1st and 2nd, is available. So you'll want to check out your calendars and give me some direction. 24th, Wednesday the 24th. Oh, wonderful. Wednesday the 24th, September 24th. That sounds good for everybody?
That's on regularly scheduled.
It is. So we would need to reschedule, or it could be in lieu of, right? It could be in lieu of that meeting. Okay, then I will go ahead and reserve the 24th for the Commissioner's courtroom and the lobby for your upcoming summit. And then also at your request, you asked that the Domestic Relations Office come and so that you all could brief them on what it is you're trying to do, your stakeholders, your target audience. And I asked Brian and his team to be here so they can see where they fit in regarding their operations into that if they do. So at this time, Brian, would you like us just to, like the commission to give you a brief overview of what they're trying to do and then you can chime in or?
Certainly.
Okay.
That would be wonderful. I have a dynamic team here with me this morning. If everyone can introduce themselves and their divisions so that they know what we have here this morning.
I'm Douglas Knapp, the Senior Trial Attorney Manager. I'm head of our legal team.
Morning, Mireya Cepeda, I'm the Clinical Services Manager.
Good morning, Elisa Herman with Legal Engagement Services.
Morning, Connie Molano Operations. Thank you.
Would you like to introduce it or is it me, Chairwoman, whichever you prefer?
And you will please jump in.
We have been working now almost 2 years to gather information. Very much seeing our role as sort of researchers and sort of been a place to pull apart a very complicated intimate partner violence. We've had to really carve out for folks who are asking why are they just focused on this one issue. We saw pretty early on that this one issue is the place where women specifically find themselves when all other issues have allowed them to slip through the cracks. For some, this is ultimate moment of need and a place that we would only end up with every. So we've been hard at work gathering a lot of information about processes, procedures, current protections that are in place and resources in place, and it became very clear that, as is the case in so many situations, work has been disjointed, right? And folks are sort of taking on domestic violence in a silo. There's a need for communication. There's a need to build some bridges across different agencies and entities that are all working to support violence. And so we made the decision to prioritize this year, the planning of a summit, to pull in every voice we have heard from for the last almost 2 years into one space and have them discuss not only their work and their role into their lane, but also the needs that they have and they experience in providing service support or representation. Whether it's the wraparound services that we really need for a social safety net or legal support should they enter the court system. We're very excited. We're pulling in, I think we've got a long running list of folks that we're inviting. The summit will have, of course, 2 panel discussions and then a resource fair out here in the lobby. So Michelle was discussing. We had heard early on, I think, from the domestic relations campus. So we wanted to be sure we put you all in. Obviously, instrumental in some of the coordination of resources for women and families. And so that's probably the fastest that I can give you. And we're happy to answer questions, but I think more importantly, that people feel you fit in. We want to hear from you how you think you do.
Certainly. And thank you so much for taking this opportunity for our office to provide more information on the services that we have. I think every division within the domestic relations office has some sort of element that we provide assistance, domestic violence, family violence. And I know we don't have a law library here. They also provide assistance. There's name changes, especially that gets that as well. But I think every division we have has some sort of element that we provide assistance. Our child support, tax possession, tax possession.
Someone to join us up here.
Yeah,
Please join us.
I think every division we have has some element in it that we are providing assistance. I don't want to go with everyone's line here.
Yeah, just share with each of them.
Well, my division, it offers any type of social services to parents that are going through the court system. It's not specifically to domestic violence victims, like that's not but of course, a lot of the parents, that's one of the key components. So it's something that we have to assess and we have to keep in mind with providing the services, but that's not like the actual specification, because our main goal with the services that we provide is make sure that they understand their rights and duties when going through the court system, when they're separated, divorce, anything like that. They increase communication between them, the actual parenting time, it's actually happening. We help them out, mediate any type of the issues, communication, and make sure that their rights are pretty much happening as per the court order. We also have other type of services which are more, and we see a lot of issues with domestic violence. And we do evaluations for custody, they're disputing custody, and when they are seeking adoption. And of course, we do have to assess too, because that can be a key element. You see those allegations. Our main role is not to say, yes, it happened, no, it happened, because that's not what we're doing. But if there's a concern, what can we do to protect the child? Which is our main goal is for the children to be protected and their rights to be always our focus. Of any
question. When you say social services, you talked about facilitating communication between the parties, trying to do a little bit of mediation. Talked about doing the evaluations. Are there other social services that you provide? And if that, yes, what can you tell us specifically what those social services are? Or have I, have I just?
Yeah, I mean, I went into pretty much, I expanded myself, but yeah, we have very specific, that we have access facilitation services. Most of the services that we provide are court order. So the family court judges are ordering us to get involved into the case when their parents are contesting some sort of issue. They're contesting a schedule. One wants supervised visit, the other one wants 50-50 schedule. So we try to help them out, meet in the middle. We also do the evaluations that I already mentioned. We can do also consultations or limited investigations when it's, again, the family courts need something specifically, and we can obtain it for them. Like that can be information about CPS records, mental health, treatment. We're kind of like the link. That's how I see, I view our division. We're kind of like the link between the courts and the parents. So we're kind of like.
So when you say mental health, is that a referral for mental health issues, or can you?
Not specifically to the parent. We do the recommendations to the court. So we can provide, we often do that. If the parent has concerns or there's something that they're actually seeking us to do, because we get a lot of phone calls that are not specific to a service, but we get calls from the community, like I don't even know if I have rights to my child. Okay, let's see what we can do and kind of guide them into the right direction. So if they do report concerns, you know what, I haven't seen my child. Do you know of anyone that can help us out? Yeah, look, we have a list. So we can do that, but not specifically tell them, go here and then contact them. Except for Project Amistad, which is an entity that provides supervised visits. Right. So there we actually do a direct contact to them and say that we're referring this family. Okay.
Thank you.
If I may add, there are quite a few divisions in our department. We just want to assure you that those staff, they are required to take domestic violence training. So the sensitivity that we have in the office, it'll be good for us to get some summit and.
So many of our services during COVID, we started offering like the co-parenting classes. We started doing more in our parent conferences that we offer those online. So a lot of services we started offering online because of COVID, but we also realized that it was also beneficial for instances where there's domestic violence that was going on. And that was really beneficial to increasing like our cooperative parenting participants, that people were more able to participate in those activities online. So some of our services, like the cooperative parenting class is offered online. We have once a month, we have a family court order orientation class that's offered online. We have a lot of services that we also offer online as well. Just because of COVID, but it also provides the ability for individuals to be able to provide access to these services remotely in a safe environment.
And Brian, if we have now a family violence court, could they refer participants over to the DRO?
Yes.
That's why I should know that. I mean, has that been communicated? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the courts that we get.
Okay.
I do have a question about interference with child custody cases.
Yes, please.
I know that I was at one of the sheriff's offices the other day, and so they said that they have those cases, the sheriffs, when they go out to a call, but they present it to DIMS. So it can be accepted or denied. Are you in contact with those cases at all, or are those?
So we did, when we originally it was passed, we went and made field visits to the police department, to the sheriff's department, letting them know of the new county order, provided them cards, letting them know that this was now available for them. And they were like, well, how does this change our current processes? It's like, well, it doesn't, whatever you have in place, you need to stay with that, but this is in addition to what they're currently providing. And so we gave them that information when it first got passed. But I don't know, we haven't received any additional outreach for us to provide education to them on that.
How about if let's say the attorneys were to accept, Tim's were to accept a case, do you work with the DA's office as far as?
So they are proceeding under the criminal, correct?
Criminal case, yeah.
Yes,
what-
and
there's a-
so ours would be civil, and so
Right.
it's kind of, they're, the two can exist separately. That one doesn't prevent the other one.
And I'm gonna ask another question, sorry. So if the criminal case is not accepted or does not, anybody gets charged, can they?
They can apply with us.
They can apply with you all.
Yes,
after that, okay.
yes, and in fact, I think the one of the issues was that when we originally spoke to the DA's office to see if they had interest when it was a possibility of a department picking that up, we spoke to the DA's office and they said that the threshold was very high in order to proceed on those cases. And so they're like, they said they would get probably like 1,000 applicants a year, but very few actually get to court because it's a very difficult threshold for them to go forward with.
But no, I wouldn't. No.
That was my question. So what I would like to see, and I don't know if it's happening, is those that do not meet that threshold,
Yes.
is there a contact that they immediately refer to you all, each one of those?
If they don't, there's not a connection, but we've always informed the public and everyone we had that they can contact us and we can handle those applications. That pointing out is fine, we accept.
Yes.
Is there something that prevents the connection? Is it like a direct referral, or is it just, again, the silos of the bandwidth? Like,
So-
we hear all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know when it passed, we reached back out to the DA's office, letting them know that that it was passed and that we were going to be doing that. But like I said, we haven't heard anything further from their office. But there was also, I think, an election, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's been a change.
So that
There's
was
been a
prior.
change.
So
Yes.
that was all prior?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am Lisa Herndon. I am the supervisor for the legal engagement services. And my division, what we work on is the interference of child custody. We also have the proceeds. Yeah, they're gonna apply, whether it be a single mom wanting to get divorced and make sure she has an agreement with the ex-husband. They can come in and have our services where an attorney in our office will review their paperwork and make sure that everything is legit to be able to send it up to court and get it finalized. We offer that for them. Name changes, as Mr. Stanley mentioned. I also am in charge of the community supervision. So if the custodial parents is not receiving their monies, a lot of the times that they're in arrears, the judges to place them on probation with us. And we have caseloads where we have those where we supervise, make sure that they're working, make sure that they do get the monies to be able to pay for the children. So that's one division supports.
Yeah, and we have a grant with the Texas Bar Foundation, and we also just received funding from the Paso Bar Foundation for a part-time attorney that reviews pro se applicants that suffer litigants after they file on family action, a divorce, adult name change, a modification. So we will review those and make sure that they're ready to go before the judge. So we review for completeness. Our office can't provide legal advice, but we can provide education. And so the education is making sure that they have everything completed and it's ready to go before the judge.
We do a lot of education.
Yes.
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 We do a lot about like outreach to try to talk to, being involved with the slide up district. Now we got a contact with a Paso independent district trying for everyone to be kind of like on the same page with the rights and duties of everyone. And it's the same with there's domestic violence, water rights and responsibilities of the entities working with the children.
Chairwoman.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that'd be great to add. Yeah.
I'm wondering, it's on my mind, the term, right? Resource. You all have those existing relationships, which you be willing to amplify out to them so that
folks, I don't know what that partnership looks like or if we're even allowed, right? So we know different administration, but yes, it'd be great. We would make sure that like people they're already working with and we're trusting the education that they're doing. Help us with the opportunity.
Yes,
The public.
right. It is allowed. We would just based off of Chris's presentation, use of county resources, just to take action and go to the court to ask for permission to use these county resources, just because departments have things that they're working on, right? And so the court would have to direct the departments or administration to move forward with that. But we can do that, no problem whatsoever. Chairwoman, I don't know if you all want to find out more information, but one thing that piqued my interest is when Ms. Moreno talked about the training that their staff receives regarding domestic violence. I know that has come up with different entities as far as domestic violence training. So who provides that training? What does that look like for staff?
A lot of the individuals.
Okay.
It's no specific training. We have to take it upon ourselves to provide that training. So we go into the community resources that are contested is one of them that offers that training.
Okay.
And I believe that we have to but it is our responsibility to see training and it could be different.
Okay.
We have a responsibility and from the team, it's a minimum of 12 hours of domestic violence every year. And so, yeah, we're like, at least for my division, we're social workers as it is. You have to do a lot of the training. So we just make sure that it's a provider that has, it's a name that has.
And that's an internal policy and or part of the grant requirements? Okay, grant requirements.
You don't have any kind of mental health training?
In my division, we are. My division, we're social workers. Most of them are clinical social workers, and I have a one bachelor level. All of them are licensed, and I also have a mental. She's counseling. Sorry, I can't think of the word, but she, yeah, she also has a master's degree in counseling. Yes, yeah. So we're all in the mental health.
So I have a resource that may be of interest about Nova. Yeah, and so I met with this woman. She's based in San Angelo, but she's part of Nova, but with the advocating for military connected survivors. So I know it's a little more specific, but they do provide free training and resources. Let me just read off what she said. To support military connected survivors of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking. This includes veterans and their families. So many of their programs and services are free. So maybe that might be of interest too. I would love to have them come to the summit as well. I know it's a little more narrowed, but I think it's good because we do have a lot of domestic violence in the military, and we have a base here, and so I think that would be good.
It's the National Organization of Victim Advocacy.
Yeah.
And at the summit, it's going to be more like a presentation on the services provided in the community, or
The commission is still building what that will look like. Here's a rough outline of what they have determined at this point. And so they met with law enforcement in February. They met with Chief Pacias and a representative from the Sheriff's Office, as well as Mr. Montoya, to discuss gaps within that realm for victims. And so they're developing what this will look like. And they did talk about a presentation. Of resources. So why we wanted to meet with you all to see internally what resources we had here at the county that we could include and add. But the idea is it'll be kind of like, you know how that, I think it's the probate court has that huge thing and they're all in the lobby, but then they go into the courtroom for a session. That's the idea behind the setup of it. And so to have all the resources in the lobby, like a fair, and then people go in to have a discussion and dialogue and talk about this.
Like how the Veterans Expo is.
Okay.
Some are like main panels, and then you have like resource tables, and then they'll have breakout sessions. And you can choose. Well, for the participants, you can choose which one. But yeah, that's quite that.
That's the idea. It's the first time that the commission, the Women's Commission, has come up with. So it's really exciting, but in development.
Thank you all for being here because it's really lets me understand the closing of, you know what I mean? Events, you know, gaps and little things that are, you know, that are happening, just that we're seeing. So it really helps me. And I'd love to have a presentation. I work with the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence. And so they really need some information on interference. And I'd love to have your information so we can schedule the advocates to learn, you know what I mean? Well, how to refer them, because they don't refer as much, I can tell you, to DRO as they should. So I have been bringing that up. So I think it's been a, you know, change in, same thing, employees and stuff, and maybe something they knew but didn't pass on. So I think that's great. Hopefully we can have you by. And we definitely could use all those services.
And everything. It's in a remote about.
I know with the process, we have been getting
Quite a few.
a lot of those. It's a lot, but percentage, I would average probably 20%. Where we have, they're coming in and they're trying to divorce,
Right.
and they're trying to get it going before they get deployed or before they get sent out. And so they come in and try to get.
And I see a lot of military up in the law library getting the pro se packets for divorces. So I see a lot of military.
For us, we see in the custody evaluations or relocation, which is a lot of the issues. And again, it's kind of like around there, 20%. It's not like the vast majority. You do see a lot of custody issues, the divorce, the relocation.
So for self-represented litigants, you do help them with legal documents. I mean, they go up to the library, get the form filled out, and then they say, did I cover it all?
What happens is they actually go upstairs to get all that information and file a petition on their own. When they do come here with us, it's just a review of what they've done. If they have the waiver, they've been answered, various things, and then the attorney may review and then say, the order's ready to be finalized. We inform the courts that they're ready to be finalized, and so they're able to take it up there. Giving legal advice we don't do. And we also do have an attorney who's a virtual in the library. Monday to Thursday, 9 to 12. We do have more answers, more specific. That's what we refer as well.
Okay. The library knows to do that.
Oh,
Yes.
Right, thank you.
But say that library is amazing when you go in there. There's all the information. It's really for the average person to be able to understand the paperwork and everything. It truly is amazing to be in there. Anyone has been in there.
I didn't.
Also has gorgeous views.
Yes, they have
It really is.
They have a kiosk right now from it's Texas Legal Aid that has a kiosk up there that has an attorney available at certain hours. I'm blanking the hours right now because we can't give legal advice and they can't give legal advice, but they can go up there and meet with an attorney online and virtually. I think they have to attest to income level and then they're able to provide assistance to them.
If you want
Okay.
A major
Yes. Yeah, and the proceed paperwork, like there's so many ways to get it wrong. Download it online and like fill in the blanks and like suddenly you're back and forth a year later because it's done wrong. Yeah, it's amazing that when you build your paperwork. But one little thing can, especially with the military, it can throw so much off.
Is there assistance in the filing? Because now everything's done through e-filing, right? Is there some, that's really complicated.
You know, we don't.
We
A lot of
don't.
the time, it's just for the districts.
Only the district court helps.
I mean, most of the time when they come to us, they already have a petition, they already have a cause number. We'll have a cause number we can assist, but once they come to us, they've already actually done that themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's access to e-file in the law library, but we can't provide, any sort of information on how to do it, or else we'd be responsible for going south. Right. And so, yes.
Chairwoman, if there's no further questions for the Domestic Relations Office, if I might suggest recessing and going up to the law library so you all can see it.
Super into any library visit. Please, let's go.
Just before Commissioner Harker has to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, we could recess, Jessica.
This commission will
20 minutes.
it was 10:15.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good to go.
The Women's Commission has reconvened to regular open session. It is 10:43 a.m. And we are still on item 4B, discuss the planning of a potential summit to include topics, stakeholders, and county resources.
So that's your domestic relations office, which includes the law library. But as you mentioned, I think they're amazing resource internally.
That kiosk is just, we asked the librarian, did not realize, I think we assumed that it was limited to like cases, but 10 pregnancies. I'm thinking of how many people I've come across who are like in the process of being evicted and they can't find the lawyer to go home to do. Actually, because of that piece touches so hard. But it's good to know it's not just. I told you, the library is fascinating.
So-
It makes that juicy book.
But I understood they can use the kiosk to like find forms that they need to.
So the libraries are amazing. Now you go to the main one in downtown.
Yes.
The one that Andy works in.
And the one,
That's my favorite library in town.
library office so homestead. You get your passport.
I haven't seen the new downtown one.
I haven't been there since they renovated for everything.
I was there when they were renovating. It's not working.
Yeah, looks totally different.
So we can ask them, of course, to be a resource, part of the resource fair. I'm not sure if you all want to include them in the panel discussions. Not sure that they fit with what you have determined already.
So in addition to the agenda, there should probably be another document that outlines invitations to vendors. We call them table partners, right? Oh, like the navigator.
Yeah.
Table partners.
And then I think, Michelle, when I asked, if they could help us get the word out and share with their networks,
It's really simple. I didn't want that ask to seem like, do this outreach work. It's like, you're making sure we create a nice little invitation.
Okay.
It's very easy for people. Not gobbling county resources, even bigger Chris Loud.
Okay. Okay. Any further work or discussion then on this?
Did you ask?
I just added creating the flyer. We already had DRO under coordination and communication services and resources available. Updated the date. I'll get that reserved then. The other to do that you all had listed here is to co-work opening statement. What is the story we want to tell? Why we are here and what do we want? So I think that would be important to have for the flyer, even. So we could spend some time crafting that if you would like. Chairwoman Rodriguez, would you like the keyboard?
What do you all think about the Office of the Attorney General? Also on there, 'cause they have.
That is where
Charles-
they ought to be a table. What is it? A table partner.
Yeah. I don't think we have them on. They have a chat Charles Ford. We also have an Office of Victims Compensation.
Michelle, there's a running list, right?
Yes, I'm pulling up the list of stakeholders. I don't recall adding the Attorney General. But let me double check.
Yeah. Two things that can fill in.
Yeah.
Victims assistance is here now. Charles.
Yeah, I was only thinking this. About how many?
40.
I was starting.
Didn't we say 9?
You said 9 to 12, break for lunch, and then resource fair from 1 to,
Yeah.
I would say maybe 3. Mm-hmm.
So like if I had a break.
What's the date again?
September 24th. We don't have Attorney General on the list.
Are we taking one sentence for this opening statement? I would say so. Yeah. Or 2 max because then
In what was this? Your March meeting, you had a bullet, continue identifying barriers and gaps in service, and then you guys said initiation of a conversation between different entities, unification of services and programs, and from what we will create a directory of services. I don't know if that helps you with the purpose statement. You said eliminating working in silos and a continual identification of barriers and gaps in service, initiation of a conversation between different entities, unification of services and programs to develop a directory of services.
I'm just putting something down. That's the change.
no.
I'm just okay. I'm gonna do
I have mind the gap. We do close the.
Oh, yeah.
Close the gap.
That's not bad.
That's actually.
Make a difference, address gaps between resources. So we kind of re-emphasizes the silos. Gaps between resources. Oh, yeah.
Now, are we inviting the public or are we inviting targeted agencies?
Right, so that's a super good point. This would be a public, for a public, invitation to the public.
Right. The way it's developed sounds like the morning will be
Just the participants, right?
just the stakeholders, and then the afternoon can be open to the public for resources, I would imagine.
It'd be two different
Invitations.
Go. So the morning is to targeted participants, is that right? And the afternoon is to.
I imagine that could be a posted
Panels
meeting.
need to be public.
I don't think you can close it to the public, but it's like I don't know, you just invite the public.
We don't know who's going to attend or else.
Well, and it will,
Like to call them, just. You see what I mean?
Yeah, or you invite
Yeah,
them.
that could
Or no, we can.
be a bit of an impediment, fire
That's
that
actually,
would be.
well, it's good. Good point, just to throw, be there.
I don't know.
Do you want to split it up for conversations, like where they ask questions?
So
I think we
Just
talked
to-
about Q&A.
that's a Chris.
At the end, actually, but not, well, the entities are, you know what I mean? We're trying to collaborate, yeah.
And aside from that, I'm going to ask the attorneys to determine if we have to post public notice of a meeting of you all, since you will have a quorum. It's a firm yes. Okay, even if it's not a meeting,
Right.
Because of
Forms present, they're discussing.
business.
Yes.
So then by default of that, public will be open. There will be public notice of that meeting, just like the individual from public
So
comment this
do
morning.
we post an agenda, and is there a requirement for a public notice? I mean, a public, you know, how we have this section about public comment, do we have to have that then too?
We are gonna have to post an agenda. I do not believe we need to post public comment, but I can get back to you on that and let you know.
Yeah, I figured tonight.
Siri doesn't know either.
Well-
You might be entitled to compensation.
Well, it's not a meeting. That's what we were saying, conversing about. It's not a meeting, but the business you've been discussing is being discussed by virtue of what you're planning.
Caution. So there's no question of the event.
Yeah, so.
And what we could do, if there are individuals signed up for public comment, the lunch hour, we
I
can
was gonna say,
serve as public comment
it
time.
doesn't have to be integrated.
Correct.
There has to be a window of public comment.
I'm not sure public comment is required. We'll check on that for you.
We're not making decisions.
Right.
Right. There's no action.
And again, we're not gonna be discussing, other people are gonna really be
Right.
talking. The idea of the summit is to bring together agencies and entities to talk to each other and share how they can collaborate. I mean, that's sort of the point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really not about us implementing policy, suggesting policy or, it really is agencies and entities to get together and talk to each other and see what reasons, that's the whole thing. This is what we have and how can we help each other?
I guess, yeah, the question then is like, just form requires to. Because that's the only thing we're doing.
Right. I'm not sure public comment is required, but let me check on that. I can check on that and get back to you before the next meeting.
Public comment.
Donated by a non-county.
Okay.
Can you tell what I'm thinking about right now?
To me, it doesn't sound.
No.
This doesn't. I know you poor, so no, that sounds. I do. Sorry. Okay, invitation to participate. So there's like, I don't know that it has to be super.
I was gonna say, I think the invitation to the public, the first sentence anyway, up to cross-agency collaboration.
Just like a public invite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's you or your entity, your organization. It's up to me. That day.
And only I say because
And a command.
I want
Requires your presence, the
needs, you know, something, because when it comes to those entities, sometimes when it's an invitation, like, hey, I got this invite, why don't you go?
Summons you.
Well, I think for sure if we send it to the leaders, like if the sheriff commits, if the DA commits, if the chief commits,
Right.
I think that in and of itself will.
So it would say something like Women's Commission, County Women's Commission invites
The chief, that
chief, blah, 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 to a.
fill out each one. Should it be lovely and elegant? Yeah. But the
Right, no, better be.
Yeah, Canva.
I mean, I throw down on Canva. It's a big part of it, unfortunately.
It's free, right? There's a free,
I'm
right?
also happy to use Am I allowed to use my resources?
Yes.
We can use my family account. My daughter. Like, and likes can occasionally do. If they know,
I mean, we're talking
about
about 15 organizations, maybe 20 organizations.
I think it looks like.
Yes, I think.
I think that will have more impact.
I agree.
In terms of RSVP.
Yes, ma'am. I'll set up a Microsoft form to have them RSVP. Let me my Microsoft forms.
There's no substitution.
Invites, Chiefla only.
Invitation not transferable.
There you go.
This is for you.
Like a little sticker in the envelope.
Yeah.
Like a quinceañera dance ticket.
No plus ones.
Well, and that's gonna be, now we have to think about that they will bring somebody with them, so it's gonna be them and.
They'll bring somebody from their office
Yeah,
relevant
no,
to domestic
yeah.
violence, right? Whoever
Yeah,
runs that
they all bring
division.
somebody.
I mean, but maybe we're looking at a note, RSVPs are required.
Mhm.
Because we have limited.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Additional sort of travel with 3 or 4 times, travel with just one. Just looking on capacities that like that. Traveling in groups, the law enforcement, like
Yeah.
traveling in groups.
Absolutely. That didn't sound easier. Yeah, I think I have my fancy brain in my head today. Got the ham sandwich brain in my head. Go. First.
Oh, I love that.
Not to be mistaken for the cities.
Do you want to identify?
Oh, the wrong title of this, isn't it? Spiraling.
Right.
Title.
Just to be inclusive of all these individuals that you're inviting versus it saying El Paso County Women's Commission Summit, hosted by El Paso County Women's Commission, but a title for the summit addressing domestic violence. Domestic violence summit.
Thinking. I wanted to be catchy.
Yeah. Me too.
Thomas, I will have the ham sandwich brain. We can't think of one today. Summit. Like my phone. Good words. I feel it's a mix of ham sandwich and comms.
Should we do multi-agency or cross-agency?
I like multi-agency.
Because you used cross.
Yeah.
before.
You were in a commanding way today.
Bench knows, right? You have to command people to be.
Yeah.
This was good for this invitation.
She's famous.
I assume we,
Concerns.
Yes, we'll have, there's some communication requirements that I'll have to follow, like really certain colors and seal and things like that, so. Oh, we have exciting colors.
What's the coach? Fine, that was the one, that was the finance. Michelle, you're funny.
We have options. Purple. Purple's approved. Purple and yellow's approved.
Oh, regal.
Yes.
All right, so how do we feel about this?
I mean,
It's a flyer.
do we want to make mention to this panel discussions? We do our panel discussion, it means you're at the table. Do what I mean, Josie? And we expect you at the table.
So fair.
To go along with it is required at the panel.
Yeah.
In title.
So maybe we should create a separate invitation for those that we're inviting to be on the panel, potentially with the outline of the event, so they know what we're asking them to do. And then another invitation for participants to, or audience for the panel portion, and then a public invitation for the resource fair.
Not too much to have.
So we invite the panelists first.
Oh, right. Secure them, and then send out. I think we should do it in that order.
Purple is recognized as the international color of women and gender.
I knew
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Purple is.
Yeah.
We don't use red.
Right.
If we
wear purple, and then
Purple's approved.
White is for women suffrage, so.
Purple and white.
Purple and white. Purple's my favorite color.
I love purple, it's my favorite color.
Every tone.
Sis, you're gonna say it? Everybody wear purple that day?
Don't misunderstand, wear purple.
Don't forget.
And with a touch of white.
Or you can wear white.
I'm only kidding, but yeah, purple and white, but we have both colors on. Even if it's a purple scarf.
Not kidding.
Not kidding.
Okay. I just want to make sure that the fellows in the room understand the.
Purple and white. Purple with a touch of white.
They're kind of already.
Sort of getting there. Yeah. Dress code will be
Dress code strictly enforced. Add that.
Men, full suits. Actually.
Do that. I do too, especially considering what they represent. Maybe even add that to educate them on the colors. Oh my gosh.
I was so against core memory.
That is a core memory.
I think it's my
I've heard that.
I know, I've never
That's where you're gonna get them.
Right down here, and they have some of the best nachos ever. Oh my goodness.
Ever tell you about the time your buddy Brian called me at 2 in the afternoon on a Wednesday?
I think if you, the deliverable for next time, I think would be the invitation to the panel participants, so we can secure them.
Come down here.
And then
And
either now or the next meeting, I think we need to start, we need to create also an invitation request for donations, participants. Yeah, we're 4 months out. Yeah. But we need this. We need a,
Can you give us the criteria for the donors? Is there, we can just, anything they want to donate free is.
we just have to put on the agenda to accept the donations. Can we do a blanket acceptance? No, right? You know how we do for the
Typically they-
picnic?
Typically, they give like categories or like some general description. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to list like every individual, but typically they do.
Well, for the picnic, we just do a general request, receive a proposal to request and accept donations for the El Paso County picnic.
What are we asking?
Employee picnic. Can we do it for the El Paso County? picnic?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. I can't imagine it being a big deal. Make sure we get the word
Okay.
right.
You wanted burritos?
So Chris and I will discuss that, bring it to you to the next meeting, and then shortly thereafter, we could probably place an agenda item on Commissioner's Court to do so, and then that would be the green light to start soliciting donations. So I think between now and our next meeting, we can create flyers, the invitations, the marketing material for this, because we will need all of that to start the solicitation.
So I was asking, so I can.
This, we would for use of county resources, but we're not, if we're using Xochitl's daughter's Canva, does that count? Just kidding.
I'm just kidding, that's like.
We're using the building. Chris and I will talk
Yeah,
offline, we'll determine what it is we do need to specifically put on the court's agenda or not.
Because we're soliciting in the name of the, during the county, I want to make sure we have, I go out and ask somebody the name of the county, to make sure that.
Yes.
This is how I track action. Invitation to panel participants, we have invitation to panel guests. I like it.
So if any of you have late night thoughts about a title, send them over.
It'll be 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And all the best.
Say find the gap.
Close the gap.
Close the gap.
Close the gap,
I
yes, I
really
see.
like it. You said it. Close the gap.
Closing the gap. Closing the gap.
Close the gap.
Close the gap itself, because it's different, it could be bridging the gap, something for it. Closing the gap is.
Do we want to close the gap or closing the gap? Because I feel like closing the gap is kind of like a demand.
Well, we
It's
demand
closing
like
the gap.
that.
It's like we're doing it.
We are demanding in both
Yeah,
ways.
like do we want to show that we're doing it or do we want to show that we're demanding it?
I think that we're doing it. Yeah.
Judge, what do you,
Close the gap. Closing the gap.
closing or close the gap? I like close the gap
I
personally.
like close the gap too. I want them to pay attention. We're not closing, we close.
And isn't it the idea that we end up with the final product at the end? Like,
That's
we're
true.
supposed to create like.
The resource,
All these other guys, so that
Right.
we put them all in there.
which would close the gap.
Which.
Mhm.
It's an all caps moment. Oh. No.
So yeah.
There you go.
I'll be nice.
Is it one gap or gaps?
You're right.
I think it's what it is.
It is.
It is what it is.
One. Yeah.
Well, because you were talking about different things. You have the law enforcement aspect, you have the resource
Close the gap.
aspect.
Let's close this gap first and then this gap. See, it's.
Plural.
It's kind of for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone has a gap. that they need to close.
Yeah, just to say close the gap.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Like close your gap and you close your gap and you have this gap and you have that gap. So.
Close your gap. Just kidding.
I like close the gap. It's very simple and to the point. We're making something happen. We're not just asking. No, we've checked into all this. We know all the issues. We know all the problems. So we're making it happen.
Okay. All right. So Chris and I have some deliverables for you for the next time.
Purple t-shirt.
We'll work on that. And then, did everybody get the link to this document? It's a shared
Yes.
document. Okay, very good. Just wanted to make sure that worked.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. And then Chairwoman Rodriguez, would you like me to get started on the Canva? You want to take the lead on that? You'll figure it out. Just try.
It just, I can start it. You've got to take it anyway. So
I do. It's a communication. But purple and white are approved colors.
Start.
Whatever you want. Let me know. Okay. Very good. Then are we complete with this item for this morning anyhow?
This is truly exciting.
Yes.
It really is.
Happening.
Doing our work.
Chairwoman, may we go back to public comment? I just have a couple of things I need to share with you. Okay. May I have the flyer? I mean, the box.
We'd like to go ahead and reopen public comments. So
Thank you so much. If you recall last time, Ms. Jones from the Criminal Justice Coordination Department, also the individuals that you've all visited for Project Chance, they mentioned about the resource fair. And so I received the flyer, so I will email this to you, but I just wanted to share publicly about this fair that they have coming up on Saturday, June 21st at the Escarate Park Pavilion. They'll be having El Paso Public Library for enhanced library cards. And then these are the agencies and organizations they will have at this fair. And just as a reminder, this is for justice involved women. Okay, and then along.
We have some of those kitties to.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a nice list. Yeah.
You said you sent this to.
I will send this to you via email. I have a couple other flyers we received from Mr. Stanley while we were gone as well that I will share as well. You have some of these on your list. So once we have our invitation ready, I'll partner with criminal justice on their contacts for the stakeholders that you have shared. Yes, go feel free, and I'll also email it too. Hold on, let me see if I can make it. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Thank you. You're welcome. And then Mr. Stanley mentioned the Department of State will be here. June the 10th at 11 a.m. in the Law Library. And they will be presenting on preventing international parental child abduction.
Department of State?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are they presenting on, I'm sorry?
Preventing international parental child abduction. I'll also send this to you as well. Oh, same flyer in Spanish. I'll be sure to share that via email with you all. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for allowing us to go back to it.
Public comment, item 4C, discuss and take appropriate action regarding setting agenda items for next meeting.
Good morning, Commissioner Michelle Cochran, County Administration. Just as an update, I did reach out to PD on your request for the CIT division. They said, I think what you're looking for, you all wanted to understand the process of when family violence calls are made, how it's determined CIT or mental health or what that looks like. They said CIT wouldn't be the point of contact, directed me to their PIO, couldn't get a hold of them, directed me to, finally I said, well, who can I talk to who determines the process for these calls? So I have messages with those, so I apologize, but as soon as we can get them here or information, I'll put that on the agenda. I believe we should continue to do the summit for next agenda. Is there anything else? Okay, so we'll just keep minutes, summit, and agenda items for the next meeting then. Just as a reminder and for the benefit of the public, our next regularly scheduled meeting is Wednesday, June 18th. Shall we reschedule?
Vacation calls.
Absolutely. Shall we reschedule?
So June 18th is off. Okay.
Can we coordinate the date?
How about the 25th? Okay. We'll be back.
25th?
Good meeting.
On the 25th?
No, on the 18th.
Oh,
25th is Wednesday.
25th is the following Wednesday. Does that work? Okay.
Going twice.
Okay, so we will also reschedule your June meeting for the following Wednesday, the fourth Wednesday, June 25th. All right. If there's nothing else, we can move on to adjournment. I'll adjust the calendar invite. Judge Chu, don't create new invites.
I haven't received one from her.
In a while.
I feel left out.
Aw. Am I posted for motion on, not on the agenda? What? Okay.
Second.
I'm sorry for adjournment. I was thinking about the meeting.
I just did it again.
Commissioner
I did.
Commissioner Bird,